Flamingo Gardens. My name is Sandra, and today I'm here to introduce you to some of our coolest animal ambassadors. Now, I'm coming out a little bit early today because we have some very special animals for you folks that you're going to meet right now. This show is a little bit unique in the sense that we are bringing out animals that are still in training, but they are animals that we are very proud of, okay? Now, first things first, you know that Flamingo Gardens is a wildlife sanctuary, right? Now, that means that all of the animals that live here out of need. Nobody lives here unless they absolutely have to. That is very important. We are very proud of that. And we have the unique capability. We are a local wildlife rehab center, which happens to be situated on 60 acres of beautiful botanical gardens. So that means not only do we have the space to care for these animals, but we have all the great amenities for them. So when we release birds on property, a lot of them still stay nearby. Take that tram ride to the back lake. We release a lot of birds back there. We've recently released 8 mottle ducks, several barn owls, several wading birds. We've also released a Cooper's hawk, and they're typically all hanging out in the area. I saw a red-shouldered hawk yesterday, jump right over here. So keep your cameras ready. There's a lot of wildlife right around you right now. Now, the animals we're bringing out today, they are animal ambassadors. So that means they are here for educational purposes, and they're really cool. We do not make any animals come out for a show if they don't want to. If an animal comes in and it doesn't want to be trained by people, if it doesn't like people, we put them on exhibit, we find them a partner, and they can be with their partner. But if an animal likes people and likes their handlers, we work really hard with them, we train them, and we bring them out to give you these educational shows. Now, our first guest is very special. The only thing we ask of you guys is just that you stay seated, okay? Because, like I said, these guys are still in training, so if you jump up, you can scare them. Now, some behaviors you might see today. You might see a bird bait. That means that it's going to jump up on the glove. It might be maneuvering, might be getting more comfortable, might jump around. That's okay. The bird's not upset, not uncomfortable, not in pain. Sometimes they're just moving, all right? Another behavior you might see one of my guests throw up. I will talk about that when the time comes. It is a very unique behavior to that specific species. Now, the people that I have coming around the corner with this particular bird, they're phenomenal trainers. And you guys, this animal is really funny. We've been waiting for him for a really long time to show up here at Flamingo Gardens. This is a unique species with a very unique temperament, and we are very excited to be bringing him out for you. And the really cool thing is that his trainers are literally the smallest girls that work here. His trainers are all 5 foot tall on a good day, like 100 pounds soaking wet, and this animal has about a 7-foot wingspan. All right, he's a big old bird. Now my friend Shannon's coming out here. Shannon is one of his wonderful trainers, and she's gonna go ahead and brag about this amazing bird. Shannon, go ahead, take it on.
All right, guys. Hello, my name is Shannon, and today, like Sandra was saying, we have a very special guest for you guys, but he is still in training. His name is Thunder, and he's a juvenile bald eagle. So when we bring him out, we're going to try and perch him. We'll walk him around. Just like Sandra said, please stay seated, and I know applause will be wanted to be given to him, but when he comes out right now, just so we don't spook him, we can just give him a silent round of applause, or, keep it a little quiet for now, okay? But without further ado, let's start bringing in Thunder, the juvenile bald eagle. Jasmine's gonna be holding Thunder for us today. So big, so pretty. Now we will be rewarding Thunder for his good behavior from his snack pouch that is around my waist. So we are gonna be rewarding him here and there for his great behavior. Oh, he's laughing. So here's Thunder, and I know you guys are all probably thinking, he doesn't really look like a bald eagle yet, right? That is because he is a juvenile bird. Bald eagles don't get that white head and white tail until they're around 5 or 6 years old. Thunder is around 4.5 years old right now, so in the next year or two, he will be getting that beautiful bald head. Now, Thunder's story is pretty interesting. Let's see if he wants a little bit. No? Okay, that's okay. Thunder's story is a little bit interesting. He was actually found up in Mississippi, out in the swamps of Mississippi. A man kept taking out his John boat every single day, noticing this black blob on this island. And over a course of time, he kept seeing this, wondering what it was. And eventually, he brought out his local wildlife rehabber with him to go see what this black blob might be. Turns out it was Thunder. a bald eagle. Now, at the time, Thunder was only around a year and a half years old. So he had 2 broken wings and he was already missing his eye. So we're unsure exactly how he is missing that one eye. It could have been from a first flight incident where he could have fallen out of the nest, but that rehabber eventually got him and brought him up to a rehab center here in Florida. We drove up to get Thunder, and on our way back, there was thunderstorms the whole way home, so that's how he got his name Thunder. Now, bald eagles without that eye, their eyesight is super important to them. And without that eye, he was redeemed non-releasable. So, like that being said, out in the wild, they rely on that vision. It's said they have a camera lens eye. So it's literally like our phones, just like our cameras, where we can zoom in and out. And it's said that if a bald eagle could read a newspaper, it could read it from across a football field. It's pretty insane. Now, bald eagles, like I was saying, their colors. His colors will come once he reaches the age of 6 years old. Jasmine's gonna go ahead. Ooh. That's the baiting behavior Sandra warned us about. He's just getting comfortable. He can have a wingspan of up to 7.5 feet long, so that is taller than Jasmine, or longer than Jasmine is tall. Taking a look at Thunder's beautiful talons. His talons, he has something called raptorial talon placement, which means he has 3 talons in the front and 1 hallux talon in the back. Now, these guys use those feet to be able to catch their prey. Eagles are very special birds because they're also fish eaters. These guys can soar up in the sky and dive up to 100 miles per hour to latch onto one fish. Now, these guys are at the top of our food chain out in our wild, but they have one main predator who is also found here in Florida. Does anyone want to guess what that may be? I'll give you a hint. It is another bird. You want to guess? What do you think it is?
Peacock.
Peacock? No, it's not a peacock. It's actually the great horned owl. The great horned owl is actually known to take out 30% of the red-tailed hawk population each year, along with bald eagles. Size does not matter. Thunder here can produce up to 300 pounds of pressure per square inch underneath his talons, whereas a great horned owl can produce up to 500 pounds of pressure per square inch. So potentially making that bird way stronger than the bald eagle. Now, back in the 70s, right? 70s, the bald eagle and our osprey were almost completely extinct due to a pesticide called DDT. Now that pesticide is now no longer. These birds are highly protected under our Migratory Bird Act, and one of these guys' feathers could be a fine up to $200,000. Now these guys have over 7,500 feathers across their whole body, helping them to be able to fly up high in the sky. And which also helps them with that is because they have hollow bones. Birds can heal up to 2 weeks, which is why it's so impressive that Thunder is a fully flighted bird, because he had 2 broken wings at one time. So that's super interesting. Do you want to add anything about bald eagles or Thunder?
One funny thing, guys, that I do want to add is how this bird came to be the symbol of our nation, the symbol of bravery and courage and all of these wonderful things. This bird is represented on many of our notes, emblems. And at the time that he was selected for that, it was very controversial. I believe it was 1782 that they decided that the bald eagle would be our national symbol. And guess what he was in competition with?
Turkey.
The turkey, you got it. I think it was Benjamin Franklin, sir, right, that suggested the turkey because they are such a useful bird. And it was very controversial because, yes, the bald eagle is a majestic bird, very brave, very beautiful, great hunter. However, they are also quite scavengers, and they're bullies in nature. And they thought at the time that those were unfavorable characteristics of a bird that would be representing us. This bird will also eat carrion, which means roadkill. So if you ever see a bald eagle on the side of the road eating roadkill, totally natural behavior, and it was unfavorable at the time. But I think we'd all like to say that we're very proud to have the American bald eagle.
All right, guys, does anyone have any questions for Thunder or bald eagles in general? No? All right, well, we're going to get Thunder back, and we still have 2 super cool guests for you guys. So everyone say goodbye to Thunder quietly. There he goes. Good job, Thunder.
All right, we're going to go ahead and give Thunder a second to clear the room. Shannon, would you like to take his little stick with him? Thank you so much. All right, guys, those girls, so cool. Seriously, 2 of the tiniest keepers we have, both of them really love birds of prey. The golden eagles that just got moved to the Cooper's Hawk exhibit for their renovation, those girls were the ones to catch them, all right? Seriously, those birds are huge. They're unbelievable. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and get my little handy dandy perch set up right here. Now, this bird that I'm bringing out for you next, remember I said one of my guests might throw up? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and explain that real quick. Now, the guest I'm bringing up next, vomiting is part of their self-defense mechanism, all right? She's really cool, really awesome, but COVID made her a little bit anxious. Happened to a lot of us, right? Now that's because we were shut down, we weren't doing shows, so she wasn't coming out regularly, wasn't seeing a lot of people. Even our staff got chopped in half, so she wasn't seeing as many faces. Now we're trying to get her used to seeing your beautiful faces again, and you guys are gonna be working with me. You're gonna be my honorary bird of prey trainers. This girl is so cool. Let me fetch her for you. All right, now, I know that I'm scavengers, but we owe them a lot of gratitude and a lot of thanks. This guest is a major part of nature's cleanup crew. Now you gotta think, if we didn't have a natural means of disposing of waste and dead bodies on the side of the road, we would suffer from more disease outbreak and viral pandemics. Please help me welcome Gypsy, our black vulture. Hi. All right, now I will be perching Gypsy because she has such a wide wingspan, and when she baits, she slaps me right in the face. It's real funny. You guys can laugh if she does it to me. I don't mind it at all. Here we go, Gypsy. All right, I'm gonna hang out right here with Gypsy, keep her comfortable. Great. All right, y'all, check this out. This is a beautiful black vulture named Gypsy. You can see this amazing wingspan that she's showing off for you. They can have a 4.5 to a 5-foot wingspan. Now that's really important for them because this bird spends a lot of time riding thermals in the sky. Now you know that hot air rises, cold air sinks. These guys are experts at finding that rising heat because they're real lazy on the wing. They just want to glide and find something yummy below. But before we talk about all that, I want to talk about why Gypsy lives here. You can see she's got both of her eyes, both of her legs. Her wings look great. She is a healthy bird. Very unique for a lot of our animals here. Now, Gypsy is one of the few animals that was born on property and stayed here. We actually release between 300 and 400 birds that are born on property every single year. Now, Gypsy is severely human imprinted, which means the girl loves humans. Look at her. She's a kisser. You'll never meet a vulture that's a kisser ever again. Now, that's because at the time, she was an egg that was laid on exhibit. And being a beautiful sanctuary on 60 acres of plants and wonder, there's a lot of predators here. There's raccoons, opossums, and they will try to dig in and take that free meal, those little eggs full of protein. And at the time, the keepers got sick of it. So what they did, they took this last little vulture egg and they put it in an incubator. Now they didn't believe it was going to be viable, but guess what? 40 days later, out comes Gypsy. Now when Gypsy hatched, the first face she saw was the face of our curator, Laura Wyatt. She has been here for a very long time. Laura's been here for about 23 years. This bird was hatched 20 years ago. Long time ago, old bird. Now she actually got her name because at the time, Stevie Nicks was on and that Gypsy song was playing. If you guys like Fleetwood Mac or Stevie Nicks, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, these guys are really unique animals, really cool, and although they're scavengers and people don't really think they're beautiful, they truly are, and you should love them because they are doing a lot of hard work for you out there in the Everglades. Like I said, if carrion was left to be scattered on the road, we'd see a lot more disease outbreak, maggots, insects, all kinds of nasty stuff that you probably don't like, right? Now this animal is a scavenger specialist, which means she solely eats carrion and things that she finds. This bird is not a hunting bird, and we can see that based on looking at her appearances. Hunting birds have very strong, curved beaks. They also have amazing sharp talons like we saw with Thunder. This bird is a walking bird. Look at these feet. They look like chicken feet, like peacock feet almost, all right? They've got very long digits, very short, blunt talons, and their beaks are really built for pulling and tearing, not for cutting and killing. Now this bird has a very unique adaptation. You can see this beautiful, fashionable bald head. She has that because if she is sticking her head into crevices with meat and gook, if all that stuff were to get stuck on the plumage on her face, she could be susceptible to infection around those sensitive eyes, her nares, and her ears. So these guys have bald heads and it's advantageous for them. The turkey vulture also has the same thing, all right? And the crested caracara, go check them out. They are some beautiful birds on exhibit. They are also big-time scavengers, Wouldn't you know it, they have naked faces. She's able to eat all of that nasty rotting meat because her stomach acids are so crazy strong. This bird's stomach acids neutralizes all the bacteria and fungi that she eats. And funny thing, when she passes fecal matter and urine, it is used as a sanitizer for her. Now I want to talk about this. You and I, we're in Florida, right? It's really hot out here. Y'all are sweating, right? I'm sweating. I had to change my shirt before I came out here. Human beings, we have a means of getting rid of excess heat via sweat. But many animals don't have that same capability. Pigs don't sweat. Gators don't sweat. So if you see a gator on the side of a canal with its mouth open, it's getting rid of excess heat. Birds don't sweat. So how's this bird getting rid of excess heat? Well, she's pooping on her feet, guys. Sounds very strange, right? Now the way that this bird cools down, you can see this ashy coating on her legs. When she gets really hot, she will literally poop on her own feet to cool her down. And this ashy coating helps block and repel sun. Very unique. And it is kind of a sanitizer because of those strong stomach acids, and it helps kill any bacteria and fungi that she's been walking through. Because like I said, this is a walking bird. Now last thing I want to talk about that's really cool about the black vulture. Remember I said she might throw up. I'm really proud of her. She seems to have a strong stomach. She hasn't thrown up yet. Now what they do, think about all that food they're eating. It's really nasty. It probably smells really bad, right? You've never smelled anything like vulture vomit. I'm telling you right now, when a vulture is upset with you, they will vomit at you and then fly away. And they do this because, of course, it's disgusting. It's very unappetizing. It is not cute to be around, but also it helps lighten their load. So when they go to fly away, they can fly away faster. Really, really cool. Now, does anybody have any questions for Gypsy or vultures in general? Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so glad you asked. Okay, now how do they interact with other birds? Black vultures are very social, so with one another, they're constantly around each other. You can see them everywhere and very heavy. I believe that the term for a flock of black vultures, oh, I know it. Would you be able to help me?
Pedal when they're flying.
Thank you.
And when they're standing, it's called a venue.
Thank you. I couldn't remember if it was venue or not. Now, these guys are really social, but with other birds, they actually follow the turkey vulture a lot. These guys have great eyesight, but not as good of a sense of smell as the turkey vulture. So what they do, they ride those thermals very high in the sky and watch for turkey vultures, because the turkey vulture will smell out something that they can eat. They'll follow the turkey vulture, boom, chase turkey vulture off. Another funny thing, the crested caracara will follow black vultures and turkey vultures. Crested caracara, they've got attack feet, they have attack beaks, and they will attack vultures to get them off that kill. Since you brought it up and I mentioned turkey vulture, last thing I want to leave you with why you should love vultures. Turkey vultures have such a good sense of smell, they've even been used to detect gas leaks in gas lines. Natural gas is infused with a chemical called mercaptan that smells a lot like rotten eggs. If you guys have a gas range in your home, it's really stinky when you first light it up. It's very similar to what turkey vultures are smelling for their food sources, and turkey vultures have been used to detect gas leaks. Another reason you should love vultures. All right, guys. Yes, sir. Oh, that's a very good question. So yeah, because they're coming from that same chamber, they are naturally very acidic. But when Gypsy has pooped or puked on me, it doesn't burn me. It's not like a burning type of acid like that. It's just acidic enough for fungi and bacteria. That was good. All right, y'all, I'm gonna get Gypsy back inside. My friend Shannon has a very cool bird coming out, and he is, unlike Gypsy, a wonderful hunter. Everybody say bye to my girl Gypsy.
Bye, Gypsy.
So our final guest here is one of my favorite birds, because I actually had the pleasure to raise this guy. This is Bradley Cooper, the Cooper's Haw. Yes, if anyone gets that, thank you. So Bradley here actually came into our rehab clinic with his two siblings. Unfortunately, his siblings and himself had something called MBD. It's metabolic bone disease. It's a bone deficiency that could happen in mammals, birds. It is curable. Unfortunately, his siblings did not make it, but Bradley here needed that extra care, extra vitamins, extra food to be able to grow into the bird he is today. So during that process, he actually did become imprinted. Unfortunately, that's not always our first goal here. It's not ever our goal, really. We always want to be able to release these guys. Up. He's just getting comfortable. But Bradley here is now non-releasable, so he's going to live out his life with us. But what makes these guys so special, the Cooper's hawk, is that there's something called an accipiter. Now in the hawk family, there's two genuses. There's the buteo hawks and the accipiter hawks. There's 47 accipiters on our entire planet. There's 3 in North America, and there's 1 in Florida, and that's the Cooper's hawk. Now what makes these guys so special, if you take a look at a buteo hawk, like a red-tailed hawk, broadwing, red shoulder, all those guys, they have super short tails and long wings. Now taking a look at Bradley here, he has that beautiful long tail, and he actually is going to have shorter wings. That's going to help him outmaneuver his prey. They actually use this long tail as somewhat like a third wing. So these guys are capable of reaching speeds up to 55 miles per hour. Strictly being other bird-eating birds, like other hawks mainly would mostly eat other mammals like rats or things like that, but Bradley here is going to be hunting primarily other birds because he has that speed to be able to zoom through trees, zoom through bushes, to be able to hunt and find his prey. Now just like Thunder, Bradley has that camera lens eye as well. Cooper's hawks, if you take a look at Bradley, he's still a young bird. He's only around 5 months old and he has that grayish blue eye. Right? But eventually, around 3 to 4 years from now, that eye is going to turn bright red. And that's a good way to tell how old this Cooper's hawk might be. Another cool thing about these Cooper's hawks is that their feet are different from other hawks like the buteos. I'm going to walk around so you guys can take a look at his toes. And if you look at his middle toe, he actually has a notch right underneath that middle toe, and that is called a killer toe. I'm not sure exactly what the little notch on the bottom is called, but that toe is helped to use and grasp his prey. Bradley's not as big as the other birds out here, but I'm still wearing this protective glove because Cooper's hawks can produce up to 200 pounds of pressure per square inch underneath those little talons. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot, but trust me, it is. I wouldn't want to get taloned by one of these guys. Another thing about these guys that are super cool, they can also run. Yes, Bradley can probably run pretty fast and he's able to outrun his prey as well. So he is capable of hunting other small mammals as well. Cooper's hawks have something called a black throat. There's only 2 raptors on our earth that have it. It's the Mississippi kite, which is right over here to my right, and Bradley right here. Birds of prey have something called a crop. It's kind of like a second stomach. It's right above their stomach, and what happens is these guys are going to eat every last piece of their meal. They're going to swallow the bones, swallow the feathers, the fur, and then they're going to fill up that crop, and they're going to cough up something called a pellet. Now inside that pellet, it's going to contain all the things that their body doesn't have or need to produce nutrients inside their body. So you can find the bones inside, and you can actually dissect these pellets and see kind of what your bird was eating. Now Bradley's colors, looking at his colors, he is a juvenile bird. Eventually, after he goes through his molts in a few years, he's going to have a gray back, and his eyes will be red, and his stomach will change a little bit as well, being more white and speckled. Does anyone have any questions for Bradley or Cooper's hawks? Yes.
How fast does he run?
How fast does he run? I'm not quite sure the exact mile per hour he can run, but I've seen him chase after stuff and he's pretty fast. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's not faster than me because I run pretty fast.
So Bradley's going to stay around this size. So I'm almost positive he is a male. In bird world, the female is usually going to be larger. Bradley here still has a little bit of plumage, which is like his baby feathers underneath him right here. So when he molts out in the next year and loses those feathers, he's going to get a ton of new feathers that are going to be a little bit smaller. So he appears to be a little bigger actually than what he's actually going to be in a few years. Any other questions? No? All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for having Sandra and I come out here and do this show for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get Bradley back inside and let Sandra take over.
All right, guys. Thank you again so much for being with us here today. We really appreciate your patronage. And of course, we couldn't survive without your support. We are a nonprofit sanctuary. So without you coming through the doors, we would not have been able to survive COVID and take care of all these wonderful animals. If you're feeling generous, we have a wonderful donation box. We have a Venmo. anything that you put in that donation box or send to that Venmo, it literally buys food for the animals you met today, and even for that wonderful black bear, Joshua. If you love him, throw him some strawberries, send us some money so we can get strawberries. Thank you so much, y'all. Please enjoy the rest of the park and check out those other animals. Have a great day.